Other, I think, big part of the story that surprised me was the FDA, right? And the
Yeah.
FDA's role in opioid approvals. And in the case of OxyContin, we think about like the FDA as this big, giant bureaucratic organization. And, you think we were talking about stem cells a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
that if you want to get an approval for a drug, and well, okay, you got to send it to the FDA, and it's going to be reviewed by this massive board of scientists and experts, and they're going to make a determination after careful analysis, right? That's not how it works. And in the case of OxyContin, the whole approval process came down to this guy named Curtis Wright. And Curtis Wright, Purdue Pharma needed the FDA to approve. They'd spent $30 million developing this drug. The whole business of drug developing is fascinating, but they were all in, and they needed this drug, and to keep the company alive, they needed the FDA to approve it. And this guy was like, "I can't approve this. This is heroin in a pill." No. Well, and they kept trying to get him to approve it, and they started trying to like pump his ego up. They started writing articles with him. They started trying to, schmooze him and charm him. He wouldn't approve it. Finally, and no one knows the facts, they took him to a hotel on the East Coast. Purdue Pharma took Curtis Wright of the FDA, spent a couple of days in this hotel room. They came out of the hotel room with an approval, with the language, OxyContin, quote, is believed to be non-addictive, is believed. If you think about that language, it had never been used in an approval process before, ever. Made no sense. Is believed. Not is not, but is believed to not be addictive. A year later, he leaves the FDA, where he's making probably 50 grand a year. Where does he go work? Purdue Pharma.
Ugh.
For $400,000+ a year.
That revolving door still exists today. The people go from the FDA right into pharmaceutical companies today.
For sure.
And it's so weird that that's legal.
And another big part of the game are these medical journals, right? Like there's something called the New England Journal of Medicine. And like a big thing is for a doctor these journals are owned by the pharmaceutical companies, right? So think about it. You own Purdue Pharma. You either buy or control medical journals that write favorable articles about your products, about your drugs. So in the case of OxyContin, there was a small, like almost a letter to the editor written about OxyContin being less than 1% addictive in a medical journal, which sounds like official and like, okay, well, damn, well, Joe's in the medical journal.
Right.
Let's go. But these are controlled by drug companies, and they're not legit. It's fake news. It's real fake news, and it's all part of the ecosystem of selling drugs. And these are the big drug dealers. Like we talk about Chapo or Pablo Escobar. Eric Newman, my buddy who was the exec producer on this, he produced Narcos, and went deep on Pablo Escobar, and he's like, when he first said you want to do this, he's like, these are the real drug dealers, these are the drug dealers putting up the real numbers, and they're the drug dealers who put their name on museums like the Metropolitan, the Guggenheim, the Louvre in Paris. These are the big time, hard hitting drug dealers.
They're real gangsters.
Oh, they're fucking gangsters, man.